Right now we have 2 of the 3 beans integrated after the mashing process. And of course, sequentially now we're going to go through lautering and boiling and fermentation like any other brew. And that's where the delivery and the integration of the coffee bean, the last bean to be integrated, comes in.
For the first 2 beans, we added more or less a raw product, but the last bean is actually, it's a finished product in itself. It became very delicate to hit exactly the perfect ratio. And it needed to be blended in a way that it enhanced each other.
So after the first part, we've already got the cacao and the Romano beans done during the brewing process. And the coffee, as we found out, it was more about the blending process.
Coffee's a ritual. You know, we give people a platform to enjoy it, but then they get to take it home, and then it's theirs. That's the great thing about it. Ultimately, it comes down to, is it a good cup of coffee? My name's Steve Kerbach. I'm the head roaster, and I manage the roasting departments of Portland, Seattle, and New York for Stumptown. As roasters, we're working on a craft, and we're working with a raw product. So the raw product brings something to the process, and then we have the ability to either mute or highlight different aspects of that. And so I think that's why tasting coffee is incredibly important to us. Scoring, cupping notes, defect analysis. So we're constantly tasting all of our coffee every day as a staff, to make sure that we're all calibrated, that we're, and the challenge is, I think, that calibration then, rather than uniqueness. And when you're dealing with a hot product, that flavor's changing as it's hot all the way to cool. Cold brew, it's smoother than coffee, than hot coffee usually is. So you have something that's very cohesive from beginning to finish that you can work with. At Stumptown, it's very important for us to stay linked to the long-term heritage of the craft of coffee roasting. And I think it's really exciting for us to be working with other craftsmen who share those same ideals. Everybody involved with the project was Brooklyn-based, Sixpoint being just down the street. And right as it was about to get underway, Hurricane Sandy hit. Unfortunately, this was a much larger event than just a repair. We realized that our roastery had been hit really hard and pretty devastated.
We sort of have quietly opened a second location in the South Street Seaport, which unfortunately it was hit by Hurricane Sandy, and we had about 2 or 3 feet of flooding.
One of those kegs with our test batches of 3 beans, it actually was sitting in our walk-in cooler, and when the flood came, it actually floated without getting anything inside. And after the water went away, it just settled on the ground unharmed. And that's pretty awesome.
This project was already quite ambitious, and then to throw literally a hurricane in the middle of it was only another obstacle.
Hurricane Sandy came in and flooded Red Hook, where Sixpoint and Stumptown are located, and all of a sudden we have no access to cold brew. So the clock is ticking at this point, and we can either do one of 2 things: throw in the towel and abandon 3 beans, or make the trip out to Portland.
Looks like we're going to Portland.